Good evening, friends, and welcome to Littleport Christian Spiritualists. And based on the comments that we're already getting, when you press the unmute button whilst you are hidden behind the video, you can still hear me, which is lucky. I was just singing, really, isn't it? But it is a lovely tune, and I do like doing to it. So welcome, one and all. You might notice that the view is a little bit different tonight, a little bit more panoramic and wide. I didn't realize it was going to be that wide, to be honest with you. Otherwise, I'd have cleaned up more. But I have a new camera, which has better lighting, and I've got a microphone so that I don't keep scratching the other one off of my buttons, because I know that annoys you all very much too. But there we are. Welcome, one and all, both those that are watching live now on Facebook and YouTube, but also welcome to everyone who will be watching the replay at some point during the week. You're all very, very welcome. And thank you all for your very kind comments about my singing. Well, friends, on to tonight. We have a very good friend of ours joining us tonight for the mediumship. The Reverend John Ennis is waiting in the green room, ready to pop up onto stage. And we have our recipients for messages waiting patiently as ever. And we have a reading. We have Hannah and Bully. And of course, we have Reverend Lynn Gibb-de-Swart waiting. Having had a slight technical hitch before the service, we would like to thank Reverend Kathy Gibb for riding to the rescue and fixing it. Although if you think it was bad enough me humming in the background, I will just say that we could hear them and they couldn't hear us, and they didn't know it, which was an amusing uplift for all of us. And I think that should be the theme of the day, amusing upliftment, because that is what it's all about. So if I'm being inspired to say that, I dread to think what Lynn's helpers have got to say tonight, but I'm sure it's going to be good. But first things first, let us welcome to the platform. He's a good friend of mine, a good friend of Littleport, and a darn fine medium to boot. It's Reverend John Ennis. Come on up. Hello, young man.
Hello, young Nick. You all right?
I'm not so bad, sir. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
Good. So what have you been up to?
Oh, being a busy little bee, doing a new church that I'd never done before for a certain medium, not a stone's throw away from me at this moment. Room for it.
Yes, I did hear it went very, very well.
Lovely service, and we've got me booked again for January.
Yay, lovely. Well, I'm actually with them. I think not this Sunday, but the next Sunday. So I will make sure that nothing goes very badly this time. But there we are.
And I've done, some people may not think it's a nice thing, but me, you and Lynn would understand that it is a nice thing, because I had to do a funeral service this week.
Yes.
So although it's sad, at the same time, it's very fulfilling.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. In actual fact, I will be performing one on Tuesday coming.
Oh.
But I won't say any more than that.
No, you don't need to.
No. Well, you'll find out that bit in a minute as well. So thank you for joining us, John. Always a pleasure, never a chore. And look, John Ennis, you are preparing to be that person in red this year with your white beard. So, Kathy wants to know if you're going to be Santa this year.
Yeah, I might be Santa. I think Kathy needs to go out for a run and stop winding me up.
I'm sure she will. And just a quick
go and feed the reindeers for me.
Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. I'm sure she'll find some for you. Paul, I don't quite know what's happening, but my suggestion would be just refresh the screen, see what happens. It might fix that. And good evening also to Edwina. So, like I said, John, thank you so much for joining us. We always look forward to it. And I know everyone loves a message from our John and a good chat with him too. But do you know what else who else people love a good chat with?
The boss lady.
Hello, can you hear me?
He's gone on strike.
John, can you hear me? This is
I can
Little
hear you,
Paul
mate.
calling John. Yeah. I was just asking, who else do you think loves a good chin wag?
Oh, your principal minister, mate.
I
The
think
boss lady.
the boss lady. Let's
boss
grab her
lady.
on up. Let's grab her on up, mate. Everybody, welcome to the podium, the Reverend Lynn Gibb-de-Swart.
Oh, thank you very much, Reverend Nick. And I'm not quite sure where I'm supposed to be here.
That's all right. I've changed the screen for you.
It's all very difficult, this modern stuff.
I tell you what I'll do. I'll do this. There you go.
Oh, I say. For a full panorama. Well, good evening to everybody. And you're looking wonderfully smart, John, Reverend John.
Thank you.
And I must compliment you on that. And I think it's very important, you see, for our mediums, our healers, our representatives to look as good as they can, and perhaps our shirts and our clerical collars actually give a certain dignity to the proceedings. So however much we can laugh and joke and have a bit of fun, things like that, it sort of tells people that underneath it all, that we are actually very, very serious. I didn't use the word deadly serious, because people who want to run us down or poo-poo our beliefs have often said that we are all about death and being dead and stuff like that. Well, of course, we say there is no dead, there is no death. So therefore, we can't be all about that. We are about life and how we live this life, but also how we expect to live the further life, the life after this life. So you see, death to us is like that old poem that's so beloved of so many Orthodox funeral services when they want to quote something: death is nothing at all. You know, I am just in the next room. Well, they recite those poems, but they don't actually understand that that's the truth. It sounds like a sort of platitude, doesn't it? Oh, yes, well, it's nothing, you know. Well, of course it's something, but the fact is that we do interest ourselves in the life beyond this life. And it gives so much hope to people. And the very concept that people from that other world that we will all inhabit one day are able to communicate back with us, you know, and actually help us. That is the most magnificent gift of all to do with our lives. You know, we're not just knitted in the womb and brought here, you know, as physical beings, but we have that spirit within us that comes here as well. And it's that spirit that goes on when we pass the physical transition of death. And to know that people can come back and help us, and we know that this is a fact, is the most important aspect, I believe, to get across to people, because especially now, so many people are suffering, and so many people, you know, are suffering in their mind. And people are suffering in their mind who have never suffered in their mind before as such. You know, perhaps people who are just sort of busy going about their business. They never had a particularly traumatic childhood or anything to overcome, and grew up, you know, sort of pretty together human beings, and had reasonable situations and conditions to live in and so on, and had never considered themselves vulnerable in any way. But the conditions that are now prevalent and prevailing in the world of ours, with this pandemic, have really cut people down. And people who have been previously quite healthily minded, if you want to call it that, have actually found themselves suffering and worrying and being anxious and being depressed and feeling stressed. And I think that that's something that we can, as spiritualists, and particularly as Christian spiritualists, I have to get that one in, can really help with. Because the fact is that, you know, Jesus tried to tell everybody, this is what's going to happen afterwards. He said that he was going to demonstrate by his own passing from this world to the next, he was going to come back in much bigger form as the Holy Spirit, as the great comforter, And the fact is that everybody that goes over can come back in the spirit to comfort us, their loved ones, and to help us. And it's been wonderful to see that happening. And the old hymn, open my eyes that I may see. That is so important. We try to open people's spiritual eyes so they can see that their loved ones are still continuing in that other dimension after they've passed from here, and can come back and actually be with us and help us through the most difficult times, especially like now. If you're feeling anxious and stressed and worried about all sorts of things, and we can all be worried and stressed about the smaller things, but when it's a worldwide malaise, then that really sort of magnifies it all, doesn't it? And if people can't go out, can't visit their friends, their loved ones, it's very, very hard, and it just exacerbates that situation. And what we can do is just tell people, this is a wonderful medium, isn't it? Talking of mediums, we can talk to the whole world. We can say to people, look, your loved ones are still there, are still standing by. They're going to help you. And if you feel miserable or frightened or worried, just speak to them and they will comfort you, and you'll feel that love and that warmth coming into you, into your spirit. It's spirit to spirit. They will enfold you in that love. So I think it's so important for somebody like Reverend John to come along this evening. Well, he hasn't come along anywhere as such. He's sitting at home. But we can pretend, can't we? He's come hundreds of miles to be with us across the fens, all the byways and everything, and probably rowed a barge along the ooze to get to us. And, he's had all sorts of obstacles to climb and clamber over. You could just imagine it all, like Hereward even with a pole, vaulting over the reeds. And here he is now, on time. Gavin Smalley, if you're listening at any point, on time. There were no tractors in his way. Walked over them with his pole. And, as in Hereward and his merry men, and women, by the way, and got here. So, yes, we've got the Reverend John, who in all his finery and his wonderful dignified clothing, who is going to help us to understand and grasp that knowledge that those we love are surviving that physical transition we call death, that they're able to come back, communicate with loved ones down here, and actually help, and they give healing as well. Of course, we need the medical profession, we need surgeries, we need the sort of the physical things that help us physically, but we still need a dollop of that spirit input so that can make our wounds heal faster. It can get our aches and pains away faster. Our distress, if we are troubled in our mind, that they can actually give that healing, and we can feel suddenly more refreshed, more relaxed, if we just acknowledge that they're there. So whatever person it is, whoever it is, who is closest to your heart, who you feel you have lost, who is over there in the world of spirit, who will come close to you if you just put out a little call. Nobody will refuse to answer you. Even if you can't hear them, it's like making a phone call and having it answered, and you just cannot perhaps hear the other end. But you know that person is there, so you can speak to them. And even if you cannot hear them reply to you, you know that they will listen and understand what you're saying, and that they will answer you as best they can. So if you're requesting some help, perhaps you're going to the dentist, you're a bit frightened, or you're having some particular upset or anxiety, if you speak to them, because you can say what you like to them. There is no judgment on the other side, only unconditional love, and you will feel relieved. This I promise you. So I hope that you know, I haven't gone on too much about it, but you know, I think that our service this evening will prove, of course, that everything that I've said is the truth, and that you will see people receiving communication from their loved ones in spirit, and you'll know by that token that your loved ones are also around. And even, as I said, even if you are not mediumistic yourself, or you're not aware of their presence or what they're saying to you, just you will know when you have participated in our service, when it's finished, that you will feel refreshed, you will feel uplifted, and you will know that your loved ones have not left you alone, that you are never alone. In the old days, there was an old advert, you know, I'm getting so old, I can remember the old days, and they're getting further and further away, believe me. But I do remember that there was a cigarette advert, and it was all very sort of, you know, somber and sort of, you know, moody and everything. And it was one of the first adverts, and it said, "You are never alone with a strand." A strand was a cigarette, by the way. You were never alone with one of them. So see your loved ones, if you like, as a strand. Not that I'm advocating smoking, I am not. I am a reformed smoker. And again, you could say that I got plenty of spirit help to give up, you know, all my addictions and all the things that I was doing wrong. I got help in order to overcome that. And everybody can have that help. So don't forget, you are never alone with a spirit friend. There. So God bless you. Hope you've found something of interest in my little chat tonight, and I won't go on too much.
Lynn, you never go on enough according to everyone watching this, so it's absolutely fine. And I have to just mirror your words, because I feel quietly confident that there may be someone watching tonight whom I actually had a very similar conversation with today regarding all you were saying about the stress and the strains and the upsets. And yeah, it really must have been some nice confirmation. Of course, I find the amusing and uplifting side when you're talking about non-physical beings that are not in the room being able to hear you, but you not hearing them, thinking about the 5 minutes before the start of the service, because that, of course, was your experience too. And of course, you got a message pop up that said check the volume, and you had some help on your shoulder, and then all of a sudden the communication started flowing. And they do say that the world of spirit definitely mirrors the physical world. And I just feel a wonderful irony in that. And everyone always loves what you've got to say. And I will remember forever you mimicking Hereward going across the river with his pole. I think that could be a new reference in the not too distant future. So thank you ever so much. I'm just going to unmute you so you can respond.
Well, I was already responding, Reverend Nick. I didn't realise that I'd been muted. I think I was going on about that. You know, whatever I might say, that remember that Reverend Kathy is in the other room listening in and watching. So I can't remember the relevance of that, but I think it was something that I was doing or saying. And the thing about our conversation beforehand, I have no idea what I was saying, apart from the fact that I was having a go at the dogs.
Yes, very much so. Yes, very much so.
Yes, oh dear. But then, of course, I don't swear, because that was something I had to give up. I knew when I knew I was going to be ordained, which is a long time ago now, a long time ago. You know, I remember buying a wristband that said, "What would Jesus do?" and it was a little rainbow wristband. Rainbow, not just because God keeps his promises in the rainbow after the flood, but the rainbow because I'm a gay woman, one of those lesbians, one of them. And I had that on my wrist when I was in the car, because I used to swear worst when I was in the car behind the wheel. And I said to them upstairs, all right, because they told me not to swear, you see, they told me. What? So I found it really hard not to swear when I was in the car. So I bought this wristband, and every time I went to say something awful, I saw, what would Jesus do? And I stopped. So you could say that Jesus helped me to stop swearing as well. But yes, I recommend that. Just a little anecdote about mediumship and what would Jesus do. And before I left Wimbledon Spiritualist Church, where I was a circle leader and a healing tutor for a couple of years, I bought all my students wristbands with what would Jesus do, WWJD on, you see, and I gave them as leaving presents. And one of my students, Karen Middleton, was serving at a church as a medium. They all fledged. And she said she suddenly froze, and she looked down at the wristband she was wearing, and instead of what would Jesus do, she thought, what would Lynn do? And she said it worked. Courses for courses. Yes, so that's just a little anecdote.
Absolutely. I would just like to briefly add, and I am just briefly muting because I can't stand the sound of my own voice. I would also like to add that I have driven all over the town with you to Stansted and other places pre your ordination with you driving. So yes, I fully understand that one.
Thank you, Reverend Nick.
And I haven't heard it since, so it must be working. There we go. Well, Lynn, thank you ever so much. And of course, you will be at the end of the service. All right, so we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Well, sir, now is the time in our service when we have a reading, and normally most 99% of the times we have a young gentleman called Victor who comes up from the bottom of the screen to say hello. But tonight we have a slight change in order, as a volunteer has requested and Alan has graciously agreed. So for our reading tonight, let's welcome Samantha. Are you there, dear?
I am. Hello.
Hey. Hi, Hannah.
Hello.
You all right, babe?
Yeah.
Good. She's busy.
Hello.
Hello.
So I understand you're doing the reading tonight, my love.
Yes. Yeah, I was inspired to read this earlier. I just, as you always know, I always worry that it's not going to work in with what we've been talking about, but hopefully it will.
It will.
Okay. It's called Have You Earned Your Tomorrow by Edgar Guest. Is anybody happier because you passed his way? Does anyone remember that you spoke to him today? This day is almost over and its toiling time is through. Is there anyone to utter now a kindly word of you? Did you give a cheerful greeting to the friend who came along, or a churlish sort of howdy and then vanish in the throng? Were you selfish, pure and simple as you rushed along the way, or was someone mighty grateful for a deed you did today? Can you say tonight, in parting with the day that's slipping fast, that you helped a single brother of the many that you passed? Is a single heart rejoicing over what you did or said? Does a man whose hopes were fading now with courage look ahead? Did you waste the day or lose it? Was it well or sorely spent? Did you leave a trail of kindness or a scar of discontent? As you close your eyes in slumber, do you think that God will say, you have earned one more tomorrow by the work you did today? Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And that really, 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 really does mirror exactly what was said. It's the exact description that Lynn started off with. And I'm getting thumbs up from someone downstairs as well. And this time it's not Lynn. Yes, you will be in a second. And you've got thumbs up from Lynn as well. Do you know, there's more activity going on down in the green room today than there is in the content. But no, seriously, it really, really, really does mirror exactly what Lynn said about us wearing what we wear and being dressed for the job as a symbol of, yes, we can be uplifting, but there is a serious side to what we do. And a very difficult side that we do as well for us, but for everyone else. Because the fact is, we're not necessarily needed when everyone's in a good place and is happy. We are most needed when things go south. And, you know, there's an old saying, wizards, I know we're not wizards really, but we do certain things that Harry Potter did. But wizards are always around when they're most needed or least wanted.
Yeah.
And I do find that quite often an accurate description of myself. Now, I've got someone mouthing something at me who wants to say hello. Hello, Alan.
Hello, Nick. I would just like to say, isn't Spirit really absolutely amazing? I had a reading picked out for tonight, Samantha. Okay. When you contacted me. No, please don't be sorry. You are more than welcome, as I've always said, as is anybody. The reading is not my stool, it's everybody's, and whoever wants to do it, they're more than welcome. But the reading that I had picked out for tonight was, have you earned your tomorrow?
No way.
Absolutely.
Wow. Oh my, they really are on form. And I'll tell you something else as well. This is going to get a very crowded screen in a second. I don't quite know how it's going to work because I'm going to bring Lynn back up in a second as well. Could you just repeat the name of the writer of said poem for those at home?
Edgar Guest.
Yeah.
Any relation, love? Any relation, love?
It's likely. It's quite likely. in case people don't realise, that was my name. Yeah, that was my name before. But yes, there are only the Guest family in Britain, in England, are basically the same family. There's a few hundred of them, and they're based around Warwickshire that way and upwards. If you have a look at if you have a look at demographics of names and things, but yeah, Guest is likely that it's the family of I should say really some of my children, because it was by marriage and not actually by blood,
now,
as it were.
Lynn, as we always say, there's no such thing as in law in spirit.
No, exactly not. We know this.
Absolutely. Brilliant.
I also noticed a lovely word in it, which is courage, and that always means a lot to everybody. We should all have courage.
Yes. Courage, the password.
And I must say that wonderful accent, Samantha. It was beautiful to hear it said in that wonderful lilting accent that you have. It was beautiful. I hadn't really noticed it before, and maybe none of us had, but that was just beautiful. Thank you.
Who'd have thunk a reading would have such impact? Brilliant. Well, thank you all for coming back on the screen. Thank you for a wonderful reading, and we'll see you both later.
And we'll see you both later.
And you too as well.
And you too as well.
Right, clear some space. Well, it's back to just us again. Well, that is absolutely amazing. And of course, everyone knows what's coming next because I'm getting requests for healing. So it is now, of course, time for healing for Jean Pearson. That's a double request, so let's send her some double healing, eh? And also for Simon, Ruth, Donna, Fiona, and Lynn, and I would add Kathy to that as well, and also to my friend Fleur and her family, and to everyone who is in need at the moment. We send out our healing thoughts, both to, of course, as I say it in the prayer, but people don't always listen to prayers, as we know. I say it in the prayer, but it's not just about sending healing to those we know, but it is about sending healing to those we don't know, those who have no one to ask for them. If you want to know what you can do today for your fellow brothers and sisters to earn your tomorrow, ask for help for people that you don't even know, because that is a true blessing, and they will be grateful, and they may never know. But who cares if they know? If they get that healing, that is what counts, and that is what matters, and that is why one of the greatest gifts of all, and there are many included in the book on the pages in our logo, of gifts from Spirit. And I'll post a picture of it zoomed in one day. So friends, let us all join together for healing. And I did just see, as I was jumping across, for Lynn Smith, and for our doggy, Rosie. Oh, bless her. Well, we will definitely send healing to Rosie. And I'd also like to add to my the list as well, briefly, my friend Carla, who lost a little friend as well, and all of her family who lost that little friend. So let us join together and say that healing prayer that makes such a difference, especially when you listen to the words. Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God, here we bring unto you all those listed in all the absent healing books, be they sick in mind, body, or spirit, that it may please thee to heal them, both those we know and those we do not know, and those who have no one to ask for them. We ask for them now. Amen. Well, thank you, friends, for sending out those healing thoughts. And that was one of the ones that you can really, really feel. And I'm very much aware that a lot of people have probably been sending a little bit to me in my direction this last week. So thank you all. And it really does make a difference. Absolutely. So thank you all. And now is the time in our service for that part we call proof. And it's, of course, over to John. Are you ready for your first recipient, dear boy?
Yes, I'm ready as I'll ever be, mate.
Excellent. Right. Well, you see, my surprise was going to be spoiled because I was going to say at this point. So everyone just forget that everything that happened after the reading for a brief second, as I say, well, of course, we noticed that someone was missing tonight. But of course, we know that he's not missing. He is sitting waiting for a reading. We've got 3 people lined up, 2 men and a lady. and the lady's going to go second because it will be definitely a rose between two thorns, knowing the two blokes that are coming up.
Nice.
So the first one, hello, Al.
Hi, Nick. Hi, John.
Hello, Alan.
Right, I'm getting out your way, and I'll leave you to see you.
Okay, catch you soon.
Well, this will be interesting. I've never given you a reading before. I've given Penny one, but never give you one.
Yes, that's right. And I think when you give Penny one, though, there was sort of like a jump between the two, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Because we're so closely connected, it's not unusual for Penny's family to sort of give me a telling off or whatever.
Right. I've got a gang of them here for you. I'm going to start with the one whose condition is giving me a lot of concern. I'm going to bring a gentleman forward. And as the gentleman comes in, he's about 5'8", 5'9". Quite a slender gentleman as well. Don't get me wrong, he could look after himself. But I do feel with this gentleman that I've got an issue around the heart area with him. And he's telling me as well that he could not take anything seriously.
Yeah.
Inside, he did take things seriously.
Yes.
But to the outside world, everything was just a laugh and a joke.
That's right.
And he says, in a lot of respects, you're like that as well. But he says, you're not as good at it as he was. But he's also coming, okay, right. I know you were working on a car today, but this gentleman's just said, is your thumb any better, the one you hit with a hammer?
I'm always doing that, John, to be honest. That's quite funny.
Because he says
it, hammer, I'll tell you.
He says that's because he was stood behind you and he made you lose your concentration. But he's just coming in with so much strength for you, but also from this gentleman. And I know he was a very strong man, a very independent man. And I do feel at times he found it very hard to actually show his true feelings.
Yeah.
Purely because it was the way he'd been brought up. Mm-hmm. But he comes in around you with a great deal of love for you, but also a great deal of upliftment.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, he wants you to know how proud of you he is.
Oh, bless.
Because he said, you were always very single-minded growing up. He says, and even today you're very single-minded. He says, and yes, you do things for yourself, but you also do things for the wider community.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And he says that's what helps you. He says, and that's what gives you your purpose. He's also saying as well, right, he says he's told you this many times in the past. He's saying, can you just slow down a little bit? Because you don't have to go at 90 miles an hour. The batteries aren't going to run out. You don't need to keep charging them up all the time. So he's saying you've still got a lot to do. Now, another gentleman comes forward. He's shorter than the first man. He's only about 5'5", 5'6". I do feel with this gentleman, I would have been quite a rounded man in my prime. But I want to say in later life, health concerns, but also a lack of appetite, he lost a lot of weight.
Yes.
He's also telling me as well that he wasn't a man to complain. He just got up and got on with it.
Yes, he did.
And he's saying he knows that he was supposed to accept help from others, but he didn't want to because he thought if he accepted help, that he was giving in. So he says that's what kept him going. He's also saying as well that he knows people said if he'd have gone to the doctors or accepted help sooner, he would have been here a lot longer. He's saying, no, I wouldn't, because when your time's up, he says, and you've got to go.
I know who that is.
Yeah. So he's just saying he enjoyed his life to the full.
Yeah.
Although not everybody did.
No.
Is it him? Right. No, I don't know if it's him or not. I have got a gentleman here. No, it's not. I've got a gentleman here. I'm going to say I'm 5'10", 5'11". I'm quite stockily built. The only trouble is the wafting snuff under my nose. And I'm having a hell of a job to breathe because all I can get is snuff coming up my nose all the time. My eyes are absolutely streaming with water. And he stood next to me and he's laughing his head off.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank heavens for that. I can breathe again now. But no, he's coming in. Right, he's saying for you, Alan, he's saying you need to drink more fluids.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, he says you need to drink more fluids. Then he's saying, and I'm not saying you do, but what he's saying is for every glass of whiskey you have, you've got to have 2 glasses of water to compensate.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Right. I'm going to let this lady come in now, because as this lady comes in, don't get me right, there's 2 ladies. The first lady, she comes in, she's about 5'1", 5'2". She's quite a cuddly lady. Her hands are very soft, but they're very red. So I know she would have done everything by hand. Also with this lady, I've got to say the kitchen was her domain.
Yeah.
And nobody was allowed in it. Although she is telling me that she did try to teach people how to cook, but she says most of it went in the hair and on the floor. So she says I kicked them out in the yard and told them to get off.
Yeah.
But this lady's coming in, and while she's coming in, she's telling me that she's just baked a cake, and she says she's going to ice it. So I'm going to say there's a birthday or anniversary coming, unless there's just been one. It could be down here, it could be upstairs.
Yes, there is. One's just gone.
Yeah.
And there's one coming on the 30th.
Right, because this is what she's on about. Because she's saying everybody likes my cakes. Right. Yeah. She's also saying as well, I don't know if your eating habits have changed, but she's telling me I've got to give you a plate of scones, but she's not put the currants in it.
What?
Well, I think when you were a little boy, you had to have plain scones because you didn't like the currants.
Yeah.
And that's why she's bringing in a plate of plain scones for you.
Yeah. Oh, bless her.
Oh, okay. And I've got to tell you, it's got real butter on it.
Oh, what? Yeah.
And homemade raspberry jam.
Oh.
And she says, and yes, I've left the pips in, so everybody will be sat there picking the teeth. Because that was her laugh.
Yeah.
She says she never had that problem. But no, she's just coming in with so much love for you and so much upliftment. The second lady who comes in, she's about 5'6", 5'7", so she's quite tall for a lady in that generation. And also with this lady, I do see her with a full-length pinny on. But as I'm saying that, I don't feel that this lady was a domesticated lady. I feel that this lady would work with her mind. You sort of put her in a house or a kitchen and she'd go, oh no, and she'd have an instant meltdown because she couldn't cope with it.
Yeah, I know it is, yeah.
But she's coming in. Why she's here, she says, I've seen you organising your paperwork. She says, and yes, everything is in its place and everything is as it should be. If you are a receipt missing, do you know where the red handled stapler is?
Yes.
That's, if you're any paperwork missing, it's with the red handled stapler, she's telling me.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Definitely.
Good. But she's saying apart from that, you've dotted the I's and you've crossed the T's.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at keeping everything in order, to be fair.
Yeah, and she's saying, yes, you're doing all the right things. The 2 ladies, the gentleman's going, no. The two ladies are going, yes, yes, yes. The two ladies are saying, if you want to go on that holiday, go on that holiday.
All right.
But the gentleman's going, he's going, but he doesn't want to go there. He wants to go somewhere else, but they won't let him.
Well, that's probably right, yeah.
But he is joining, the gentlemen are joining with the ladies, and they are saying that, yes, right, if it's an overseas holiday, you will have to bide your time. But if it's in the home countries or the Republic of Ireland, yes, you can go ahead, they're telling me.
All right, fine.
So, but if it involves aeroplanes going to the right, you'll have to wait a little bit longer, he's saying.
All right.
But so much, right. Okay. Right. The second lady's just coming back in. Right, I'm going to say this is in the family, but it's also very symbolic as well, because she's given me a gold fountain pen, a gold-coloured fountain pen.
Yeah.
One, I know it's in the family, but two, it's very symbolic for you.
Yeah.
And why she's saying a fountain pen? A fountain pen, you cannot go at 90 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah.
To write properly.
Yeah.
Because she says, if you were meant to have been a doctor, you would have been a doctor. So you don't use a ballpoint pen and pretend you're a doctor and all that scribble. Because the worst part about it is you can't read it, let alone anybody else. So that's why she's given me the fountain pen, because she's saying if you use a fountain pen, you've got to take your time, but you will be able to read it afterwards. And that's important.
Yeah.
So from all of it, and they're all coming in around you now with a great deal of love, a great deal of strength, and a great deal of upliftment. Also, as well, if Penny suddenly starts getting hot flushes and she's saying it feels as if somebody's pressed on my tummy, can you just tell her it's your lot upstairs looking after her?
Oh, bless. Yeah.
Because this could be within the next hour to an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But they're saying, I'm not saying she'll be as right as ninepence tomorrow, but what they're saying is she will be better tomorrow, and then she'll be even better the day after.
Oh, good.
So it's just
better.
Yeah, so it's just one day at a time.
Yeah.
And I'll leave all that with you, Alan, if that's all right.
Thank you. And John, could I just say the butter really, really does resonate. We used to make our own butter, and I've never had real butter since.
Well, that's why she said it was real butter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And I also know, because normally when they say jam, it's strawberry, but yours was raspberry.
Raspberry, yeah, and she used to make raspberry jam herself. Yeah, so spot on, mate. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cheers, Alan. I don't even need to ask if you had a good reading there, because you just told us. So thank you for that. It's absolutely brilliant. Good to see you, Alan. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you at the end.
Mate. Thank you.
Cheers, buddy. Well, sir, we now have a young lady, and lots of lovely comments again. And I will just add to Reverend Kathy. Hello, Auntie Beth. And Tracy, yes, I hope you're halfway through your lines by now. It's so much fun reading the comments. You know, the thing is, though, when we're in an actual physical church, everyone would be getting in trouble for, you know, sharing sweet papers, let alone having long-winded conversations. But this is what makes us us. It's this family that everyone's chatting to themselves and wishing each other well and telling each other off for being late, you know, all that sort of. I just think it's brilliant, and it's one of those aspects of the situation we're in where there is a positive, in the sense that it is bringing people together. The other thing, of course, that's the positive about this is that we are getting people in for readings that would never have had the guts or the will or the determination to turn up on a Thursday night at Littleport Village Hall. And of course, I'm getting a little grin from the waiting room, because she knows who she's being. She knows who I'm talking about.
But don't you think that in a roundabout way, lockdown has benefited our movement?
Absolutely, because people can now see what we do. And I think Reverend Lynn touched on it a little bit earlier as well. People can now see what we're doing and see what we are. And these whole stories about us being crackpot bingo callers who, you know, sit with their hands, you know, all holding each other's hands in a circle chanting. Yeah, we might do that at the weekends, but it's not what we do on a church. And, you know, and making tables move, you know, and which I have seen Reverend Kathy actually do, but in the proper way, rather than, you know, having having Herrywood's pole underneath it to get it moving.
Exactly.
And I'm going to think about what I say, and I'm going to go away now in a second, because I'm going to before I get myself in trouble. So bringing on for the first time, not just to Littleport, but also for a message. So do be gentle, John. Let's introduce Jess. Hello, Jess.
Hi.
How are you? Has the rattling gone away now?
It has, Nick.
There we go. Excellent. Right, I'll leave you two.
Right. So you've seen the message I gave Alan.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to be afraid of.
No.
No, the only one who's afraid is me, because I don't know what's going to come next. So I do feel with you, I have got two ladies coming forward for you. Now, the first lady, as she comes in, she's about 5'5", 5'6". She's quite a rounded lady, but she just comes in and puts her arms around you, and she says, "I've got to give you a big squeeze." She says, "And I've got to give you a kiss." She's also saying as well, just because the hairdressers is open next week, don't you go getting your hair cut. She says, long hair's always suited you. And she says that I come and brush your hair at night time for you, because I want to say behind your right ear at night time, about 8:30, 9 o'clock. I don't know if it's an itch or you think somebody's pulling your hair. You get that sensation.
Yeah.
And that's just her around you. But she is coming in with so much love. The second lady is also coming in with a great deal of love for you. And the second lady, I've got to say, you are very much like, facially wise, but also personality wise as well. Okay, right. I'm going to say you work, and I don't want to know what you do, but what they're telling me is, how the heck do you work with them people? She says they want their heads bashing together. She says they're always playing jokes on you. She says, and you never know if they're being serious or not. But she's saying, what they're saying is, you always manage to get your own back in the end.
That's about right.
Yeah, and she's saying, this is what it's all about. They're also saying for you as well, can you please look to the future, not look at the past. The past has gone. You can't change it. You've learnt the lessons from it, but the lessons that you need, you will keep close and you will use them to your advantage as you move forward. And you will move forwards a great deal.
Yeah.
I'm bringing a gentleman in now. Now, as this gentleman comes in, he's about 5'8", 5'9". In his younger days, he would have had quite darkish hair. I want to say a little bit of a ladies' man as well.
Yeah, definitely know who that is.
And yes, he tells me he did like his Brill cream and his eau de cologne. I said, don't you mean aftershave? He went, no, only cologne. So I say him why? He says, look, mate, he says, if you spent 1 and 6 on a bottle, he says, you used the proper name for it. I'm not saying he was tight with his money, but he counted every penny.
Yeah.
But also, as I'm saying that, he comes in around, what the heck is that? All right, okay. I've got to give you a packet of mint tutti fruities. Obviously, you understand that.
Yeah.
I've also got to give you a packet of Rolos.
Yeah. Definitely.
The only trouble is these Rolos are being in his pockets. So when you take the outer wrapper off, it's just like a whopping great big mess. But
yeah.
he just comes in so much. There's so much strength coming to you from this man. He's also telling me as well that I've got to say to you, you are a lot cleverer than you make yourself out to be. He's saying now is the time for you to start putting into practice everything that you've been dreaming about.
Yeah.
And he says, you will know when the time is right. I don't know if it's already right, but it's very, very close if it's not. And he's just on about you now moving forward. Now, there is another gentleman who comes in. Now, as this gentleman comes in, I'm going to say with him that he did pass the spirit very quickly and very unexpectedly.
Yeah.
And he just comes in around you with a great deal of strength and a great deal of support. He's telling me that he knows he was missed and that he's really still missed today. But he's going, it's just life, he says, and we just have to get on with it. I do feel with this man, he was very matter of fact. He won't dress his words up. He just says it as he sees it.
Yeah.
And he's the same up there as he was down here. He's going, you get a pain, you close your eyes, and when you open, you're talking to everybody who's gone before you. He says, so there's not a lot you can do about it. And literally, that's how he passed the spirit. 1 minute he was here, the next minute he was gone. And he said, it was a blessing in disguise. Right. Which one are you? Right, I don't know if it's that gentleman or not, but I do need to bring another gentleman in. And as this gentleman comes in, I do get a really, really bad tightness in the chest with this gentleman. And I'm going to say I feel as if I've had a stroke as well.
Yeah.
Purely because I've gone weak on one side. And this gentleman's... Right, I know he must have had problems because he's telling me I used to go round in circles because I could only feel one side of my body. He says I used to pivot on with the other side, but he's saying he always managed.
Yeah.
But he thanks everybody for the support that he was given. Right, so I've already brought 2 ladies in, but I need to bring another lady in now. Now, as this other lady comes in, she's making me very aware. She didn't want to go to the doctors. She didn't want to go to the hospital because she knew when she did, she wouldn't come out again. So I want to say that this lady passed in hospital. She said, people have got to stop blaming themselves. They looked after me for as long as they could. She says, and that means a great deal to me. And all the ladies are just coming in around you with so much love and so much support. Now, what the ladies are saying is, you are normally quite well organised. They're saying it's the 1st of December next week, and you've not done your Christmas cards yet.
I haven't.
No. And another year has gone by, and you still haven't made your own Christmas cake that you promised everybody that you would do. And you still haven't made your own mince pies yet, like you promised everybody. And I'm going to let the cat out of the bag here, because you tell all your employees, yes, I made these mince pies at home. And then they show me the receipt in your back from Marks and Spencer's. So they're just having a little bit of a laugh with you. But what the ladies are saying is as well, when you give yourself time, you are very good in the kitchen. Your problem is you're your biggest critic. And they're saying you always, just because it doesn't look like it did on the telly or it doesn't look like it does in the book, it doesn't mean to say it's not right, because you're doing it yourself. And yeah, so you need to start. Okay, right. I'm not opening this up too much. What they're saying is your trust in other people has been broken, badly broken in the past. They're also telling me as well that trust in the family has also been broken.
Yeah.
They're saying all you can do is deal with what is around you at the moment. So they're saying, you know what family you can trust, you know what friends you can trust.
Yeah.
I do need to say 1, 2. Right, you've definitely got one work colleague, and there is another work colleague who is going to join your little tight-knit group. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And she says, yes, you can trust them as far as you can throw them. And then they're saying you might be, sorry, I don't want to upset you. They're just saying you might be a strong person physically and mentally, but no, you can't pick them up and chuck them as much as you'd like to.
Pretty spot on.
with the family, with the family, the ones that you're talking to, carry on talking to. Where the fallouts have been, you have done everything you can. It's now in their court.
Yeah.
But trust, as if with your friends, trust has to be earned, not given. Just because the family doesn't mean to say, yeah, come on in, the door's open, put the kettle on. And it's just about you moving on, moving forwards. Okay.
Yeah.
They're also saying as well, do not be afraid if you wish to uproot and put them down somewhere else. Because they're saying you can do whatever you want to do. You don't have to think about anybody else, but, right, you need to put you first for a change instead of putting everybody else first for a change. But so much love, so much strength, so much support. I don't know which gentleman it is. One gentleman just wants to come in, put his arms around you. He's just going, that's my baby, and he's crying his eyes out. But he does come through with so much love for you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave all that with you, Jess, and I hope
Thank
it wasn't
you.
too frightening, and I hope in some way it helped you.
It was wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, pleasure. You're muted, Nick.
That's
Still
probably a
muted.
good thing. That's probably a good thing. Well, wow. Now, Jess has had little snippet readings before in the past, and I know this for a particular reason. And I also recognise the description there as well. So absolutely stunning. However, mister, there is one thing I want to take up with you, young man.
What's that?
By what I'm about to say, it'll give it away. You're off tomorrow, aren't you, Jess?
Yeah.
I'll see you Saturday morning at work.
Oh dear.
Yes, boss.
That was so, because what you don't realise is, John, you said that she'd bought the mince pies from M&S, We
Yeah.
sell M&S mince pies, and that is the real point of mentioning it. It's absolutely stunning.
Well,
So
she doesn't take them from there because everybody would know when they did the stock take because there wasn't enough money in the till.
bless you. On that note, but no, seriously, that was wonderful, and I'm sure it helped, and I think we've spoken about a couple of those things in the past as well. So
Yeah.
it's nice to have it from someone who isn't me. So
Who's never
really,
met
really,
you before.
yeah, definitely. So brilliant. Thanks, Jess. Well, in all
Thank
seriousness, we will see you at the end of the service.
Yeah.
Before I see you on Saturday, but for now, see you in a bit.
See you later.
Bless her. Well, that time has come. Your final message is waiting to be given. But first, of course, we have our traditions ourselves. And he's bouncing. I don't know what he's drunk tonight or what he's had tonight. But Bully is really, really quite excitable and getting ready to come on. In actual fact, he can carry on dancing at the front of the screen like he's doing. Hello, Bully and Hannah. Bully's special prize. How are you, my lovely? Good. And I couldn't have put it better myself, Reverend Kathy. He's been drinking Red Bull. Reverend Lynn, you have my deepest of sympathies. It gives him wings. There we go. Brilliant. Thank you, my lovely. And do stay around and we'll have you back up at the end. Cheers, honey. See you soon. Well, it's time for your final reading of the evening. And there are some people who don't put the name in very often. There are some people who put the name in an awful lot and don't actually get pulled out very often. But this is one of those occasions where they actually have come up on the list. So about to pop the other side of you is your final reading of the night.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. You?
It's me.
Oh, blimey.
Sorry.
Right. I wasn't expecting that one.
Mm.
Right, let me have a look. I've got to get somebody different for you now. Right. Come on, go back and come back in again. Right. Okie dokie. Right, there we go. Come on. Right. First off, I'm bringing a lady in for you. And as this, what the heck has just happened to you? As I'm bringing this lady in, she's just superimposed herself over you. And
Right.
you're identical. Apart
Thank you.
from the fact she's telling me you've got spiky hair and she's got long hair.
Yes.
You put your glasses off. But no, as this lady comes in, she comes in with a lot of warmth and a lot of love. Also, I'm going to say it's the same lady because there is another one as well. I'm going to say it's this lady. I'm going to say I've got issues around my feet with this lady because I feel my feet are starting to swell up. And she's telling me she was more comfortable in her slippers.
Yes.
And she liked the slippers with the hole in the bottom and the cardboard off the shoebox to stop the water getting in.
Yeah.
And she says, and yes, I had the bottom drawer in the 6th drawer chest and the whole bottom of the big dark wood wardrobe with the dark iron handle, all full of slippers. She says, but I didn't like the colour and they weren't comfortable.
Yeah.
And she says, I wouldn't be so bad. She says, but I told them when I popped off to the other side, I didn't want shoes on. I didn't want no new slippers on. She says, and talk about arguments about what was going in the coffin with me.
There was lots of arguments around that time, to be fair, yes.
There was. But she's saying, everybody got there in the end.
Yeah. They did.
But she right. I've got to say with this lady, she says, I don't like having favourites. She says, because everybody was my favourite.
Yeah.
But she says, I have always had a soft spot for you.
Thank you.
She says, you know that anyway.
Yeah.
And she's also saying, doesn't matter what your mother says, doesn't matter what anybody says, you take after me, full stop.
It has been said.
Earthly and spiritually.
Yeah.
The only trouble, her generation, she wasn't allowed to openly talk about it.
Yes.
But she's saying she used to get caught doing it.
Yeah, I've heard about that actually. Yes.
Yeah.
I have.
Do you know where? I'm going to say she's telling me it's still complete, but it doesn't look complete. A tea service. I see at least 4 cups and saucers, a small side plate, and then a larger plate.
Yes, I'm aware of that one.
It looks like quite an ornate pattern on it. It's not your flowers, it's something else.
Yeah, I remember them. I do remember them.
She's saying, when you get somebody round who likes proper tea, she says, use them and then tip it in the saucer. She says, it worked every time for her.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And she says, they're the only ones to use.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Definitely.
She's also saying as well, and I know that this lady never had any money. She's saying, monetary wise, there is a value on them, but to you, the sentimental value is irreplaceable.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So she's saying, if you want them, let it be known that you want them. And she's just, okay, she's coming in, she's saying, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
Thank you.
You know what to do and you know how to deal with it.
Yes.
And I'm saying, does she want to say anything else? And she's just going, shh.
Yeah.
She says, he knows.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he knows. But as I say, there is a great deal of love. She's also saying as well that she's getting a little bit concerned about your weight.
Mm-hmm.
She says, before you used to have to take a deep breath in to do the buckles up on your trousers. She says, but now it's as if you have to blow your stomach out because it's as if they're falling off you. And she says, I know you've not been and bought any new ones that are too big.
Yeah.
So she's saying, yes, you may feel better for it, but she doesn't want you to see you starving yourself.
Oh, no.
No, but sometimes you get carried away in your working life and you get carried away in your spiritual life. And then all of a sudden you get engrossed in looking after other people. And who's at the bottom of the Christmas card list? Destiny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't have any lunch at work today. I know that's what she's having a go at me for.
Yeah. So she's saying you've got to look after yourself, because she said, oh, okay. She's saying, I'm going to tell you to take some of your own medicine. She says, because you used to listen to me. She says, because you won't listen to the men in the family. She said, just remember, you've got to look after yourself to look after others.
Yeah.
And she says she will. She's also saying as well, Mum will be all right.
Thank you.
And as she's saying, Mum will be all right, I've just got a rattle on my chest. So I don't know if Mum's got a bit of a rattle on her chest or a bit of asthma or something like that. But she's saying, Mum will be all right.
Thank you.
And she will be all right. I want to bring a gentleman in for you now. In fact, there's 2 gentlemen. And with these gentlemen, I've got to say, I've got military connections with both of them because they're coming in left, right, left, right, left, right. The only trouble is the second one's going, I only had to do it because I had to.
Yeah.
He says, I didn't want to. He
Yeah.
says, it was either that. He says, you'll go to prison. He says, you'll go down the pits. He says, and I don't want to do that neither.
Yeah.
He says, he's going, it was the worst 6 months of my life. He says, but hey ho, we had to get on and do it. But the other gentleman, I just feel with him, if he had been allowed, he would have made a very long career out of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know why, but he's just showing me there was an elastic band and it kept pinging him back home.
Yes.
So I don't know if it was the fact that he was married or if he felt responsibility for looking after the family. So he's saying as much as he would have liked to have gone around the world 3 or 4 or 5 times, he says, I had to come back and sort everything out.
John, I've just got to say, it was 7 times.
Was it?
He actually did go around 7 times.
Well, there you go. But I do feel, right, with this gentleman as well, would you, right, you have heard about the diaries.
The what, sorry?
Diaries.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Right. Put them all together. And this is very important.
Yes, Tom.
Stories will follow on from each other.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's on about his diaries. And he's also telling me as well, right, I don't know if they've all, yes, they have. He's saying they've already been used, but they will continue to be used for people who are doing the family tree.
Yeah.
And he's saying he was the only one who ever wrote anything down.
Yes. Yes, he was.
Now, I know he's laughing about going around the world and everything else. He's just got a little bit of tongue in cheek too. He might be taking the mickey out of me because he's just saying, I didn't put everything in the books.
No, he did not. Yes, absolutely. Yes, completely.
And he's just laughing his head off and he's going, you think you've lived? He says, you've not even started yet. Compared to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He did
Absolutely.
a lot of living. He does say what he's saying is, he says, I'd have lived to have been a lot longer if I'd behaved myself. He says, but there again, if I behaved myself, he says, I wouldn't have been me.
Yeah, absolutely.
He says, and I wouldn't have achieved what I achieved and done what I did. And I've got to say with this gentleman, and he's not being big-headed here, he is proud of everything that he achieved.
Yes.
But equally important, he's proud of the legacy that he left his family.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And he says, I look down on all of them with a great deal of pride. Now, I know that this gentleman doesn't like showing his emotion, and up until his last 6 months on earth, he didn't show his emotion.
Yeah.
But I want to say the last 6 months, everything got too much for him.
Yes.
And he's telling me that I can tell you this because I can feel it anyway. The tears are welling up inside me.
Yeah.
And it's not tears of sadness, it's tears of joy. Because he just wants to come in around you and let you know that although you do things differently to everybody else, he's saying you are following in his footsteps because he did everything different to everybody else.
Yeah, he did.
And he said, there's nothing wrong with that. He said, what's important, you are writing your own history book, just like he did.
Yes.
He's going, brothers, sisters, nephews, nieces, they're all just following each other and doing what each other's doing. You take great delight in swimming against the tide. And he's saying that's what he did. He always swam against the tide.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay.
Oh, yeah.
he's just saying he's swum against the tide sometimes too many times because he ended up in the glass house. If you don't know what that is, that's a military bridge.
Yes.
Well, please take this the right way. I wouldn't normally say this, but he says the stripes come up and down on my arms like a lady's underwear.
Yes, that sounds just like Tom.
I had to change it. That was the best I could change it to. Because what he was
Oh,
telling
I'm
me
well
to
aware
say
how
to
difficult it is to translate for him. Trust me.
Yeah. But,
definitely.
okay. He's also saying as well, right, over the last five weeks, he has felt your pain and he's felt your heartache. But he's telling me to say to you, don't feel guilty, and yes, look forward to Christmas.
Thank
He
you.
says he knows it's your favourite time of the year, but you always say, if I look forward to it, something will happen. And he's saying, no, look forward to it, and don't be guilty about looking forward to it. And right, there is another gentleman. Right, I'm going to bring this gentleman in. It's all right, I've got two smells. The first gentleman is, as he comes in, he smokes cigarettes, and I don't know if you'll understand this. If not, you can check. I've got to say Capstan full strength.
Yes.
And the other gentleman, he's not close enough, but I can smell the tobacco, and it's pipe tobacco. It's not cigarette tobacco. And I know I'm going back a little bit because this tobacco is no longer made.
Yeah.
Now, I've never had this one before. I don't even know if it's a pipe tobacco. He's telling me it's called Three Nuns.
Yes.
Because I said, are you taking the mickey out of me? You mean 3 barrels? And he went, no, 3 nuns. And he was being very, very specific about it. You seen that?
Yeah, no. Can I just, I'd just like to, please everybody, do not panic and do not block. It's not a spammer. It's James. He's one of us. That is his name in Hebrew. Do not report him. He's one of us. He's a friend of ours. He's a good bloke, and he's probably just slipped on his keyboard. He lives in Israel. Sometimes that happens with his messages. Don't panic. He's a good bloke. Do not report him. He's my mate. He's actually a minister of the New Christian Spiritualist Society, in fact. So he's fine. He's fine. It'll right itself eventually. Don't panic. Do apologise.
That's all right. Yeah. So I've got this 3 nuns tobacco, and I've got a gentleman with a Capstan full strength, and they're just coming in around you, and they're saying, right. Oh, this is a weird one. Will you start believing in yourself the way you ask everybody else to believe in you?
Yeah.
He said, because when you're around everybody else, you're bubbly, confident, you know what you're doing, and everybody respects you for it. But underneath, you're going, oh, I don't know if that's right. Don't know if I should have said that. Don't know if I should have done that. You're going, yes, you should. And they're also saying as well, now I know the last time I read for you, I gave you new beginnings, but I do need to say there's more new beginnings coming.
Yes.
And with these new beginnings, okay, right. Everybody, I don't want to upset you, but to the general public, these new beginnings, when they come in for Nick, are going to bring about a lot of big changes.
Yeah.
Not just in the work environment, but in your personal environment as well.
Yeah.
But they're saying it's all for the best.
Yeah.
And it's all about you now moving on and moving forwards. And you've got so much you've got so much to look forward to, and you really, really do need to trust yourself and believe in yourself.
Thank you.
I don't know if this is a man or a woman. I've just got real discomfort in my lungs. So I don't know if it's an emphysema, a pleurisy, a pneumonia, but I've got that sort of condition. I'm not saying it's what took them to spirit, but it was one of the contributory factors.
Yeah.
And this person just comes in as well. And they're all just coming in around you to give you so much strength and so much upliftment and so much support. Okay, I've got to say to you, it looks like an old school book. I don't know if it is. I've got a bright red covered, I'm going to say, notebook.
Yeah.
It's got a black square or a black outline on the front of it.
Yeah.
And they're saying, yes, you know where it is, third shelf down on the bookcase, but it's not stood on its end, it's hidden under the books or on top so nobody can see it.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, they're saying, get it back out and start doing what you started 18 months ago.
Will do. Yeah, I know what that is, definitely.
Yeah. So it's just all about love, strength, support. Mother is going to be all right. Dad, bless his heart. Yes, Dad's pulling his hair out, but he'll be fine.
Yeah, as ever.
He does everything with a smile on his face.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. I do need to say, Mum and Dad are very proud of you.
Bless them.
And what you've achieved. But everyone in spirit is so proud of you. And they thank you. They thank you for you being you and not changing. When it would have been easier to change. No, you dug your heels in and got on with it.
Yes.
And they're saying, keep doing that, keep moving forward, and keep looking to the future. And if that's all right, I'll leave that with you. I don't know if I've got over my time or not.
Yes, I lost track of time, but thank you so much. And yes, it was, I'm sure several of our regulars will recognise Uncle Tom popping in there, the Navy sailor who spent the beginning of his naval career working for Admiral Bertram Ramsay, sir, in the cliffs of Dover, and then joined the HMS Reaper and sailed around the world. The distance he travelled was enough to travel 7 times around the world, but he was steaming between Singapore and Sydney. And I say no more about the lived bit, but that little box there he bought off the side of the boat from somebody actually in Singapore, and he had a thing about oranges.
All right.
Everyone else was spending their money on all sorts of things that one should not speak of in such an environment. But shall we say, people of the loose variety. And he went and bought a bag of oranges. Or at least that's what he told us.
Yeah.
But he did have to come back. He was the youngest of 18. So he had a big family to look after. And of course, the first 2 was my nan and granddad Brown, who was blighted back from India because he broke his back, and they wrapped him up in silk and stuffed his plaster with silk. He did quite well out of that, I hear. But thank you so much for a wonderful reading. And of course, don't just ask me. Let's ask Reverend Lynn. Lynn.
Yes. Well done, Reverend John. Excellent work. Excellent work. I know that your guides will be really pleased with you. And as I always tell my students, you have to tune into your guides first, because they're the ones who are going to give you the best evidence, and they're going to make sure that you get that communication. It was excellent. It was really good. And just to mention that one of Reverend Nick's grands lived in our house here.
All right.
where we live now. And this, here, this is a cup and saucer from the tea set that Uncle Tom left behind him when he went to Spirit.
Yeah.
And we were, and Reverend Nick gave us a gift from him, and there we have the this marvelous
the tea set.
And I thought everybody would probably like to see that. I keep forgetting that everybody is watching, but yes, that was lovely. And it's a good job that something I do get pulled back to reality, and no, it isn't only Reverend John and Reverend Nick that are having a conversation with you, but yes, here we are. And I would just like to say that Reverend John, what a wonderful demonstration of mediumship, proving survival. You gave all the evidence that was needed, and it was just excellent. And in these difficult times when we're called upon to almost give private readings, where it's totally different to actually demonstrating in a hall where you get a choice. You can be drawn to somebody. Somebody actually comes in and says, I'll go to him or her. You've got to actually get somebody for the person who's presented to you. And I think that's always a challenge, as we know. But you have not disappointed in any way whatsoever. And you've got wonderful communicators, wonderful communication, and you proved that evidence that we're always looking for, that there is indeed life after this life, which brings us back to the very beginning of the service. You proved it beautifully, and you did it with aplomb, with graciousness, and with kindness and compassion, and unconditional love shone through. Thank you very much, Reverend John, for serving our church so well.
Absolute pleasure, Lynn. Absolute pleasure, Lynn. Absolute pleasure.
Bless you. I'm just going to mute you a second. I absolutely second that. I would also just like to reference the minor incident. And it's okay. Don't worry. I'm sure that James won't mind. These things happen. What for me it shows is that this sense of community, the way everyone was sending messages of welcome to Jess, the way everyone greets everybody up on the platform, and the way everyone pulls together to look after the main thing, which is the group. And James, I don't know what you slipped your keyboard on, but be careful, dear. Don't hurt yourself. Bless you. James is a lovely guy. He would never spam us.
He would never spam us.
You've known him longer than I have, though, Lynn.
Yes, where he lives. Am I mute still?
You're fine.
Okay. Where James lives is overlooking the valley where David slew Goliath.
Yes.
So, on the subject of things slipping, I think a big stone slipped out of a catapult once upon a time in the vicinity of where James lives.
There you go. So you've had a background of it all, everybody. So thank you, Lynn. Just going to pop you down a minute while I say goodbye to everybody. But we'll bring you all up at the end. Well, John, thank you so much for a wonderful evening. Thank you, everyone, for just being part of such a wonderful group of individuals, and a pleasure to be with on a Thursday night. It always is quite wonderful. But John, thank you for my reading. It very much was needed.
Absolute pleasure, mate.
So yay for Spirit. I'm lost for words. You've done all right when I'm lost for words. So let's get everybody back up for our final prayer and our good nightings. So be prepared, everyone. You're coming back. Here we are. Hello, everybody, peeps. Let's do it that way so we can see everybody. Well, let's just say a massive thank you and a round of applause. He is the man, It's John Ennis. Thank you very much, Reverend. Well, let's all join together, shall we, to say good night, because the journey for this Thursday is drawing to an end. So let us join together and say those wonderful words. Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together as friends, to unite under your banner of love and hope and friendship, and see that proof and that truth that life is indeed eternal. I ask for a blessing to be placed on each person here present, those watching at home, and all those that will watch. And hey, even those that don't get to watch, because they don't need to be excluded from this either. Place your love and your blessing upon everybody, because we all need it in our own way. And so until we meet again, let us remember to help each other out today for a better tomorrow. And to that end, Great Spirit, everything we do will be in the name of love, in the name of truth, and in the name of light. Amen.
Amen.
Well, it's good night from us. It's good night from me. It's good night from him, and it's good night from them. Thank you all for being part of this service as ever. It is an honor and a privilege to welcome you into my boudoir that you can now see more of because of this blessed new camera. But thank you all. God bless you all. May the peace of the Great Spirit go with you all. But until next Thursday, we'll see you soon, and good night.